So our final colour belt pattern is Choong-Moo Tul. Now Choong-Moo again is one of those patterns where there are a lot of very basic techniques just slightly adapted, and you'll have to work out what the adaptation is and how that changes how we do the move. And the first one of these is pretty early on, already in twin knife hand twin knife hand block, which is an adaptation of our normal forearm block, twin forearm block, and we're stepping forward and we're doing this move. And the first time you see it, it looks absolutely terrifying. What are you doing with your hands? What is this? But pretty much it's an inward knife hand block, strike to the neck. Nice and easy. Walking stance here, very basic. This is a high inward knife hand strike. So the arm is bent to 90 degrees this way. The hand should end up at neck height here, and then this hand is a reaction hand. Now there's some claim or a bit I think fudging going around trying to suggest that the application of this is either blocking something coming down or trying to shield the sun from your eyes. I need that today. But it's not the case. It's coming across this way, so it's not appropriate for a downwards block, and we're not using the right tool. We're exposing the front of our arm this way. So it is simply a reaction hand, the same as we would have pulling back to our hip or over our bicep or pulling down here earlier on in Hwarang Ta. So in Choong-Moo we have our first flying kick. Now flying and jumping kicks sometimes get mixed up, but the easy way to remember is jumping kicks. Generally you're taking off with two legs. Normally when we jump, that's how we jump. And then for a flying kick, you'll be taking off with one leg. And the difference between the two in terms of travel distance, jumping kicks, we're going on the spot, we might be shifting stance, but we are landing generally centered where we started. Flying kicks are, as the name might suggest, flying forwards or flying backwards or doing something else. Either way you want to remember that, that's no problem. So here's the move from Choong-Moo. Forwards, up, and we land and set ourselves down into knife hand guarding block. It's one step forward, we launch ourselves up with our non-kicking leg, and then we come through and we kick with the back leg. Now the important thing to try and practice, because this is more a case of practicing than perhaps just correcting, is once this left leg is lifted up, we need to tuck it in under and rotate it over at the same time. So it comes up here and it's going to come this way, and our hips will follow, and because we're not on the floor with this right leg, we'll rotate over here, we'll get ourselves into the perfect side kick position and down. So one more time, just to try and get the idea of that. Here, preparatory movement with the foot, launch up, and you're going to tuck it underneath. It comes up and you tuck it underneath here, and you'll see, without myself even putting effort in, without extending the right leg, just by this tuck and under, I was already rotating my hips over into the right position. Let me do it again. Open, here, tuck up and under, and we're ready to go. All the way through. Nice and easy. Land in a knife hand guarding block. Don't forget, there is a full sine wave after. So kick as we land, up and down. Make sure to spend your time on that. You want to be able to reset yourself, because it's an awkward kick to land. So here, full sine wave, and give yourself that extra second of recovery time. So, high inward reverse knife hand strike. Now there's nothing particularly complex about this. The two hands are going to move in opposite directions. This rear hand, much like we would with straight fingertip thrust, is going to come under the dobok here, not touching the arm, and it's going to be hovering not quite under the elbow this time. We don't want it pushed out quite as much. It's just in a 90-degree position from the shoulder this way, so it ends up under the arm. This comes onto the center line. Remember to pull your thumb nice back and out the way here, so that we're striking with this part of the hand. So from the pattern, we are from a grab, knee, feet go down together, down here. Remember, we're still in the relaxed phase, we're still ready to go. As we come up, hands start to circle. What they do not do is pull back beyond this plane. Okay, so we're not pulling back beyond the 90 degree this way, and they're going to come through and deliver. So the inside of the hand is going to be coming into the neck height, which should put your fingertips at around about the top of your eyes. That's the easiest way to remember it. From here, we've got another kicking complex. So we are here, we're coming forwards, stepping down. Now what's important is to get the rotation around. My feet are not coming to parallel. It's an awkward position here. I could leave this left standing foot slightly at an angle, but if I leave it too much over here this way, and my foot's in the wrong position, I'm not quite here. So it's got to rotate just a little bit more. When you're doing the turning kick, your foot should naturally, the standing foot here, this one should naturally come to 45 degrees off towards this angle, and you should leave it there. Now the natural thing to do is to bring it here, and as the knee comes back, is to rotate it back to center, but try not to do that because it's already in a good position for us to continue on. So kick to here. As the foot comes down, we rotate further, step here, transition the weight onto this. Now the transition is not done in any particular motion. It's not the same transition we'd be doing with a pickup as if we wanted to step out into a different move. It's this slamming the heel down and pushing this back that will get us the momentum. So rock onto this and use it to drive your back kick out. All the way through. Turning kick. Change the momentum, rock onto it, and then pull it back into here. Turn your hips and your head, and you're ready to deliver the next move. It's important to try and keep your weight over the center throughout the whole set of techniques. So kick, rotate, my hips are just here, there, and they're still over the center, and they drop down. After our kicking complex, we have another couple of complex moves. We are from here, the first time we're in a proper guarding block throughout the pattern, and we do a turning kick. Now turning kick's nothing new, but what is new is the fact we're no longer doing it on 75 degrees, or as you might think of it, 15 degrees from the center line. We're now at 45 degrees. It's a middle turning kick. Our opponent is to the side front. This way. Step the foot down next to the other foot. It must not be cramped in. There's not this much gap between the feet. There is this much gap between the feet. Because if we are here, we lose the stability of our knees. We want our knee to be able to bend as it gains the weight onto this leg, and we transition into the next move. So, middle turning kick, place the foot down, and we deliver U-shaped block, which should be nothing new to you. Now, our jumping 360 knife hand guarding block should be something that comes with practice, but there are a couple of teaching points I'd like to point out nonetheless. So, we're coming from here, and this is the aim. First of all, be careful that you're not moving in any direction. It is a jumping technique, which means, especially the fact that we should be taking off from fixed stance and landing in L stance, means our body weight is shifting only fractionally. We're not going anywhere with it. So, from here, up and down. The second thing to think about is that we have to execute our knife hand guarding block. If we're here, I'm not doing anything with my hands. I'm not doing a block. I'm just leaving them where they are. The important thing to do is to be here. Pull your hands back. It makes the technique more difficult. Once you pull out, you increase your inertia and decrease your inertia. Whichever way round it is, you make it harder to spin, and you pull down and you're into knife hand guarding block here. But what that does mean is it will help you hold your momentum, and that does make it easier once you have enough rotation. Remember, when you're rotating, you're not trying to you're not trying to spin. The most important thing is to pick your knees up. The higher you can get your knees, the easier you'll find it to do this technique. So further on into the pattern, we will go from here. An upset fingertip thrust in walking stance. Now the stance I'm pointing at especially because it's very important. When transitioning from a walking stance to an L stance. Now we've had the reverse of this, say in Choong-Gun here, and later on with the release in that same pattern, but we're doing the opposite of that now. We're coming walking stance and we're pulling backwards. Now walking stance is long and it is quite low. L stance is shorter, it's less wide, and it's more upright. So that means we have two choices. We can pull all the way back and we can drop down into it, or we can shift our weight straight away, no sine wave on it. And that is what we're going to choose to do. The reason being, here, our hands are already on the correct line for rotating through. We don't need to come back to neutral, to the chamber, and then deliver this way. It's a waste of our energy. And also, speed here will help us drop our weight onto this back leg just a little easier. So, this is the technique. It's a rear side back fist strike, so make sure the back of the fist is facing at 45 degrees, so off in this direction, and the front hand is just in a relaxed semi outer forearm block style. It's a reaction hand with here, this way, nice and easy. So later on in the pattern we have a transition. We're in double forearm block and we're lifting and we're doing an outer forearm inwards block to middle section. So make sure first of all that it is middle section. The top of the fist should be level with the top of the shoulder, which will put your outer forearm at approximately solar plexus height, and we are on the center line with this. It's coming in and here. Beyond that, it's just important to get the hand work correct. Now there's a few moves I'm thinking here, especially with the hands rotate in opposite directions and they pull back. So the one hand is coming through, but the other hand is actually, moving in the same direction. And this is one of those. I'm thinking waist block is another one. But these moves are a little bit higher level. Start to get used to it. Get used to pulling both those hands in the same direction. And what will help you on this one is the fact we're rotating with our body. So make sure you're dropping down nice and deep into that sitting stance, and you're putting that weight into the outside of your right foot. And then everything else, especially the rotation of the hands, should come nice and easy for you. So in Choong-Moo we have another kicking complex. We've got two side kicks done in fast motion. Now don't forget, fast motion means that you should be keeping the same speed, the same transition throughout. There is no sine wave in between the moves, no hand technique. It's just straight down with the kicking foot into the preparatory movement for the next foot. So let's have a look at that, and let's also have a look at what the foot position is after you finish those two kicks. From here, it's actually from the back fist. One, straight down preparatory movement. Two here, and then we place the foot. Now the foot must be placed parallel and level with the already standing foot, and you must put the feet one shoulder width apart, and then you will naturally transition onto this left foot, the kicking foot that's just come down. From here, stand up, and we deliver our X knife hand block back to this direction. Now our hips are facing off to 45 degrees, but this X knife hand is facing forwards. Now the way the application of this technique works is you're blocking with the two hands here, and it is blocking something coming across. Most often a turning kick, something coming in this direction. You see, if you block with one hand, there's the option for it to rotate in here. You're blocking with two hands and both of the knife hands here. Finish in this position with the top of the fingertips level with the top of the shoulders.